What up, crowdfunder? Salvador Briggman here, the host of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. And today we got a killer interview for you because we were actually able to get on the phone a $1 million Kickstarter success. This individual raised over $1.2 million with their Kickstarter campaign, attracted more than 2,600 backers, and they've come here to share with you how they did it, going beyond just what you see out there publicly and really what worked in terms of the engine of the crowd, the tactics, the advice, and some of the insights that they've had being able to bring a new product to the world, and what everyone else should do and what they should know if they're looking to do the exact same thing and have a mega raise. So I think you're going to enjoy today's podcast episode, and that's really reason why I started this podcast in the beginning in 2015 was because I want to bring high quality education to you and really talk with those entrepreneurs, founders, inventors, engineers that are in the trenches right now so you can learn from them and you can apply some of those lessons. But remember that knowledge is only really potential power. So make sure you write down a couple of high-level bullet points. Try to remember a few things from this episode because I do think that this one is just filled with nuggets of crowdfunding gold. Now, on this show, I try to bring on a lot of different types of guests. We have on card games, we have on people that are inventing new products just like this, films, even more investment kind of startups and people doing technology gadgets and gizmos. We have a huge range of individuals. And one of the things that I always get asked is, Sal, is there an easier way to go out there and to launch a project? And I was thinking a lot about this, and this is honestly one of the inspirations behind my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, because I was having so many people reach out to me saying, Sal, what is a better way to do this? What is the straightest path to success? Is there a blueprint or almost like a paint by numbers formula which I can follow? And this is really the insight behind why I created this book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. It's for creators just like you who maybe don't necessarily, have a lot of experience doing this, but really want to be able to have a big success with their first launch. They want to know the road ahead. They want to understand the common pitfalls that they can steer clear of in order to have a great success with their project. And more importantly, they want to come on this show afterwards as one of my guests with that incredible success story. So in terms of this book, first of all, Audible is doing an incredible promotion where you can go and learn more about this if you want to, but they're doing a promotion where you can get a free 30-day trial of Audible, plus get a free copy of the Kickstarter Launch Formula, which is my book. So you can actually go to Audible, get a free trial, and you'll also get a free copy of the Kickstarter Launch Formula. If you want to learn more about that, I'm going to give you a link in just a second, but you can also go to Amazon and you can type in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, and you can get a paperback version of my book as well, which is kind of cool to have, and you can take notes in it if you want to as well. One of the things that I do, people are like, oh, Sal, you writing your books? Yeah, I love to take notes in my books. I'm one of those types of people. So go down below in the show notes. You can learn more about this, but you can also grab a copy at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. That link is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. Again, that link is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. But without further ado, let's dive into this episode and discover how this creator was able to raise over $1.2 million with their Kickstarter campaign. And it's coming up right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. And today we're speaking with a creator who's been able to reach the incredible $1 million mark on Kickstarter. This is for CardMill, the TCG scanner, trading card games scanner and sorter for players and collectors. It is an intelligent, automated scanner and sorter for everyday collectors and players. And we're lucky enough to have the founder of this project here today. Jonathan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely, man. Well, whopper of a project, congratulations. Maybe you can fill in some gaps in that introduction, just tell the listeners a bit more about you and what you've been working on here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we launched CardMill on Kickstarter in July 22nd, and it's been so exciting. It's such a whirlwind for the last couple of weeks or a week and a half now. But the product, as you mentioned, is a scanner and sorter for trading card games. It's a tool intended to provide a service for trading card collectors to be able to augment the collection management process and essentially give them a means of uh, creating an online digital inventory of all of the cards that are in their collection, but then also assist in the sorting process and be able to help them to organize them by alphabetical, by card type, by set, by color, things like that. Even for some of the players and collectors, we are sorting by rarity and by the price of the cards at the time when it's being scanned in as well. So it's
Super
really
cool.
intended to be a tool to help trading card collectors get a handle on their trading card collection.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be a really big pain in the neck as well and makes it a lot more
Yeah.
efficient. What kind of, made you fall in love with this problem, or why did you decide to focus on this out of curiosity?
So I've been I've been a player of Magic the Gathering for a number of years. I actually started playing it back in the early 90s. And there's a period where I stopped playing for a while, and I got back into it maybe about 15 years or so ago. And one of the things, as any trading card collector or player does, is we collect a mass of trading cards kind of as we're going. And I
The
do
binders. Yeah.
right, exactly. Binders and boxes and piles on our desks. Well, I also do a lot of trading of my cards because I do a lot of deck building, and I'm always looking for those new cards that are out there. So what I found to be my biggest challenge was getting my cards into some sort of a digital or online inventory so that I could perform my trades. From websites to Facebook, it was always a
Right.
pain to be able to understand what I have. And I set out to find a machine, something that could help me with the process. And everything that I found out there was either extremely expensive, like in the thousands of dollars,
Jeez.
or right, and or it had exorbitant monthly recurring fees in the hundreds of dollars. And as an everyday player and collector, it just didn't make sense for me. So there wasn't really anything out there that would work for someone like myself. So I built one. And being a software engineer by trade, I was able to buy a Raspberry Pi, buy a bunch of different components, and with Lego pieces, some cardboard, and a Raspberry Pi, I built my first proof of concept about 2 years ago.
Wow. I guess one question I have that kind of comes to mind is I think most people, they have that idea and like, well, wouldn't it be great to have something that does this? And it just it kind of ends there. But you went the
Right.
extra step. Would you consider yourself an inventor, an engineer, a business owner, an entrepreneur? How would you label yourself?
Yeah, I think it depends on the circle and who I'm talking to, but really it's all of the above. I invented a machine that solved a problem for me, and I really am trying to build a business out of this. Something that I can be proud of, my family can be proud of. Something that's supports the trading card collector and player community. Really, I'm trying to be all of that kind of at the same time. So it's a lot.
Wearing a lot of different hats, right? As they say.
Right. Right.
Has Kickstarter like always been in your mind from the second that you started to make this, or did that kind of come later, this idea of involving the crowd and creating it?
So when I first built it, it started as an idea to just build a tool for myself and something that I can use. And then once I had that first proof of concept, I'm like, oh, I feel like a lot of people could really do this. And at that point, I realized, at that time, I decided to look at Kickstarter to be able to help fund this, because I didn't want to go the external venture capital investor route. And I knew that, to be able to make this really into something that that it's going to become now, I needed some financial assistance to be able to get it there. And we were always planning on doing Kickstarter, but the support is far more than what we had expected, and it was a good decision to make. I also think, though, that the community that we work with, they're big into Kickstarter campaigns. They're big into seeing new projects, new tech. So it sort of, my community was also there from the get-go, and it sort of helped to cement that idea for us.
Very cool, very cool. I think you got a lot of validation as well. Kind of our pre-show, you're talking a little about this idea that anyone can do a project themselves. Like anyone can actually go out there and identify a problem and create something that helps other people. Do you mind expanding on that point or kind of adding a little bit more to that?
Yeah, well, the idea. So I feel as humanity has grown, everyone has all these ideas, right? We're doing all sorts of things, whether it's something outside our house, something inside our house, something to make our lives a little bit easier. And ideas tend to crop up. I feel like humanity is an idea species, and we like to tinker, and we like to play, and like to create stuff. And I really do feel that really, yes, anyone can do this. It's having an idea, and it's locking in on what really makes that idea unique and helps to solve a problem that I think, in my case, it's allowed CardMill to be as successful as it is. It also is something that, I'm passionate about. I am the target market for this. My friends are the target market for this. So I built something that there wasn't a tool for people like us. And then I found out that there's a lot of people like us that are in the same boat, and that's what also kind of helped us move along.
How long were you working on this before you began to really think about launching something like this online?
Yeah, from when I first started building my proof of concept to when I actually had the first one done, it was about 3 months that I was putting it together, and then
that's pretty fast.
From there,
yeah,
it was pretty quick. Yeah, I was locked in. I was really excited, and I also really wanted something to be able to do what my first version did, and so. From there, then it was about a year and a half after that, a year and a half ago that before it got us to this point. But from the after the proof of concept, when I realized that this might be a tool for everyone else, is really when I thought about locking into the crowdfunding space and to really kind of explore and make this a decision. So it's been maybe roughly about a year and a half in the making now.
So cool. Well, it actually looks very high tech. And it kind of has this cool green tint as well. It looks like something that's kind of sci-fi almost a little bit. So I like it. I mean, it looks awesome, man. It's pretty clear you put a lot of time and attention, detail into the design there.
Thank you. Yeah, and we have we have a stretch goal that we're trying to unlock here in just a little bit at $1.25 million, where the entire thing is going to be see-through and clear. And so so you mentioned that little sci-fi look. We're calling it the Ghost Edition, and really it's going people are very particular about their trading cards. And so we feel that it's going to be really exciting because you'll be able to see, the card actually moving through the entire machine, see everything that it's doing. So there'll be, obviously there'll be some components like, gears and rollers and conveyor belts and things like that that aren't see-through, but the entire outside casing is going to be completely see-through to really expose the interior to someone.
That's pretty awesome. And just so I get this right, so this is for Magic the Gathering, but also Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Star Wars, you name it.
Right, exactly. Yep. And we're planning to constantly start releasing additional trading card games as we go. And we're going to be focusing on what the community wants. So there's a lot of people that are playing, they play a lot of different trading card games. So, we're reluctant with our 6. We've got about half a dozen more that we're intending to be able to support for day one as well. And then as the community grows, we're going to really find out what games they're wanting to add to the system, and we're just going to vote on it, and wherever the community takes us that's kind of where we're going to drive.
I love that. If you're worried about the fulfillment and shipping part of your Kickstarter campaign when it comes to getting out all those perks and rewards to your backers, rest assured I've put together a complete Kickstarter fulfillment and shipping checklist for you, and it's free. This is sponsored by the folks at Fulfillrite, and they thought that you should have this checklist as part of your arsenal going into a crowdfunding campaign. If you want to get instant access to this checklist and it's free, you can go to fulfillrite.com/checklist. Again, that is fulfillrite.com/checklist, fulfillrite.com/checklist. Just go to that link and you can download it immediately. Well, it's been incredible just to see you unlock all of these different stretch goals. And thinking about
Yeah.
this, if we were to really rewind to the night before you went live with this Kickstarter, what was kind of going through your head and what were you thinking about before you went live with this?
You know, I was very nervous. I knew that this was a product that could work for everyone, and that the everyday player, collector, the small mom and pop local game stores. I really knew that it was a need, but I was worried about what the day would be like the next day. So I did not sleep very much. But it was a blend of excitement and nervousness and a little bit of apprehension, like, okay, should I really do this? Am I doing the right thing? I've invested so much time and money and energy, and people around me have done the same thing. So I had a little bit of, self-doubt and just wondering, like, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't going to give up at that point, but I really questioned, like, is this all going to be worth it? How is it all going to turn out? Because I didn't have a crystal ball. I didn't know how, everything would happen. And my expectations were blown away from day one, first thing in the morning. It was wild.
Yeah, and I can imagine, so much time and attention built up to one moment can be, pretty
Right.
intense.
Right.
So you go live and you start to have people backing that. What is that like, to have people starting to pour in there to support your work, to say they want to own this? What does that feel like?
Oh my gosh, it was such a thrill. So I went live, and my wife was taking my son to camp, and we're live, and I start seeing the backers and the pledges go up and up and up, and then she started recording. I started talking about, like, okay, where we're at, and I could not keep up with the numbers. It was really empowering, I guess, to see um, the the excitement from the community for a product like this. And we hit our funding goal in less than 24 minutes. And just to be here and seeing that happen, it blew our minds. It blew my mind to experience that. And it was really, really exciting. And it really
I,
gave validation, I think, to all the hard work that we've been doing.
Yeah, I would say too, I mean, even that's a cool lesson for your son or, for your family there to know that you can make something, you can work hard on it, you can, come to fruition with it and you can connect, right? So a really
Right,
cool
exactly.
message with that. And I think it goes back to that original point you had, which is just knowing your audience,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah. It's, like I said, I am the audience for this product. My closest friends are the audiences for this project. And, it that, along with us knowing, the community, and because, we're playing in the games, we're playing the tournaments, we're going to the local game stores, we're going to the conventions, right? I mean, I'm not going to every single convention, but I've been to a couple, and it's allowed, we're just in the community. I mean, I don't know
You're
how else to
involved.
say it.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
involved. Yes. Thank you. And throughout the whole lead up to the launch of the campaign, I feel like was also probably one of the most exhausting periods I've had,
Mm.
because, um, when I first started running my ads and launching my website, the social media pages and everything, I made it a point that I would always engage and communicate with everyone that responded or asked questions or engaged with my content.
That's quite the
Almost,
challenge.
it was exhausting. um, but I feel like if I didn't do that, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like I've gotten comments from people that are like, "Hey, I really appreciate your involvement and engagement and communication with the community or with us and
Mm.
answering our questions." Um, I would get maybe about a dozen to 2 dozen contact forms submitted through my website almost every day for 6 weeks leading up to the launch. I would
Hmm.
get maybe about half a dozen to a dozen comments on some of our different social media posts.
Hmm.
So it was a lot of late nights, but it
It's
showed the
worth it.
community.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, and it showed them that we're really part of it and that we're interested in what they have to say. And I really don't think that we would have been this successful had we not been, connecting and engaging and really showing them that, we're not just some big, corporate conglomerate that's trying to, make a buck. We really are players and collectors in this community, and that was invaluable for us.
What I think is so special about that also is kind of like a hallmark of crowdfunding and Kickstarter is that you're kind of creating something with the community, and it's almost like you
Hmm.
go and you watch like Hibachi or something. You see this guy kind of making and going through the process of creating something, and you're
Right.
participating in that process. It's really fun. It's like a spectator
Right.
sport almost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it definitely is, especially as they're flipping things around. But and the thing I've also learned through this process is that for this company to be successful in the end, I have to be the expert in everything that we're doing, right? And it's not an expert. I have to be the expert. I have to know. I have to own the message. I have to own the communication. I have to own the outreach and the conversation that we're having with everyone.
Hmm.
And that then, has allowed and empowered me to then, give that information to the rest of my team that, is able to then help.
Sure.
Um, and I'm not a social media expert by any means, but I am good at communicating and talking to people. And my years and career and corporate work has allowed me to do that essentially now.
If someone's kind of looking at this and like, oh my gosh, this guy has been able to track more than 2,000 backers,
Mhm.
invented this whole new product, I think can seem a little bit intimidating. And maybe
Yeah.
someone has been working hard on the engineering side and they really have that down, but the marketing component can kind of seem a little bit mysterious. Do you have
Mhm.
any advice or tips on the marketing side, whether that's around the creative or driving traffic or anything like that?
Yeah, so it's I think the best bit of advice I have is that, to keep trying, keep going for it, right? If one thing doesn't work, that's okay. You've learned so much from that one ad or that one post or, that one thing you tried to do not working, and there's so much value in that. And we can't give up, just when, one or two things aren't working. I've had a few posts that even someone reach out there is like, hey, you should really take that down. I'm like, okay, it was a bad idea. So, or I made a comment that just didn't make sense. And
Yeah.
it's all about really just trying to speak to your people, and people want authentic. They
Mhm.
want an authentic message. They don't want all this. Okay, maybe some people want the bloat, right? But for me, for my project, it was important not to exaggerate. It was about transparency. It was
Yeah.
about really trying to connect. Like because if when I would talk to people on social media, I would behave as if I'm talking to them in person, and
Right.
people can
That
tell when
personal touch.
someone's right, exactly. And people can tell a lot when they're being taken for a ride, and they don't like that. They don't
Mm.
want that on social media either. So my biggest advice is just be authentic, be yourself, and really if you're in the community and you are your target market, then you know how to talk to these
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
also, also like for me, Facebook was by far the biggest source of content and engagement in my entire community, and that's just where my community mostly exists.
Hmm.
So finding where they are within the ecosphere of all these social media platforms is also important, and target them there.
Well said. Well said.
Also, all of these platforms, they have a lot of tools out there to be able to help. Facebook has people that you can talk to that will help. Reddit does, LinkedIn, all of these places. It's in their best interest for us to succeed because, of course, we're spending more money in ads, right? But they're very helpful.
Yeah, I think that's kind of also comes from that software engineering background, which is, you have a problem, you don't just kind of sit there on your twiddle your thumbs, you go actively,
Hmm.
proactively figure out a solution, right? Or you go and look in
Exactly.
forums, you go and research it. So
Right,
I
right.
think that's a really new mindset for some people, and I love that you're bringing that right as one point here.
Yeah, right, exactly.
In thinking about this for you personally, what has been the most rewarding part? Is it bringing the product to life? Is it the funding, getting to the $1 million mark? Is it the validation, the community? What do you feel like has been the most rewarding piece for you?
So the money is great, but it's also the money's never enough, right? And and I know as I've been going through the process and planning and budgeting and everything, this money is going to be like gone like real fast because now the hard part is that I actually have to deliver now all of the products that we've been promising to people, and so all that money is going to go to support that. So while the money is great, it's really not the most exciting part for me. The most exciting part is really seeing my idea come to life
Mm,
and seeing something that, like, I quite frankly, I've spent a lot of late nights working on, a lot of lost weekends with my family working on, because I had an idea that I really felt could change the trading card industry. And I
mm,
think I think we're on the verge of being able to do that, or at least we're starting the conversations around it.
mm.
So the most rewarding part of this was seeing or receiving the validation from everyone that, like, yeah, I trust in you. I believe in your product. I mean, we've made over $1 million and I don't have a physical product yet. Like,
Right.
that's it. That's wild,
It kind
and
of boggles your mind a little bit. Yeah.
right, and like the support of the community and the like everyone surrounding, us and our product has been phenomenal. And there's some people that, aren't excited about it. There are those naysayers, and and that's okay. It's like, but I hope that, once people start receiving the product and start using it and start talking about it, there's really more people that are going to just, I guess, follow on the same footsteps as everyone else. So
Right.
really seeing the product being able to come to life is the most rewarding part of this whole thing.
And I think that says a lot too about your approach, this like personal touch that you have in the brand, because if people are believing that this is going to come to fruition, they really have to put a lot of trust in you, right? And your brand as well. So I
Hmm.
think that
That's
ties
right.
in very nicely. Well, I could
Right.
talk about this for hours, but where can people go, first of all, to learn more about your campaign? And do you have any, I know you're working towards that one stretch goal. How much longer do you have here on Kickstarter?
Yeah, so we have 21 days to go, and you can, of course, find us on Kickstarter, just by searching for CardMill, or you can go to our website at cardmill.com. We'll also redirect from there at cardmill.com/Kickstarter, and that'll redirect folks straight to the Kickstarter page as well. We've got a little ways to go before our next stretch goal, and it's going to be a surprise that we're going to announce here in a little bit. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, cool.
I'm like you, I could sit here and talk about this for hours, right?
Yeah, we'll make sure to link it up in the show notes, and I'll also link up to your website. So first of all, I appreciate you so much for coming on and being transparent and really just sharing your story with the audience. The final question that I have for you, and we can end on this note, it could be a quote that you've heard that you like that maybe has encouraged you along the way. It could be a final tip or a bit of advice about crowdfunding, or just a word of encouragement for other creators out there. Any of those, and we can end on that note.
Hmm. Yeah, so I have at the bottom of my signature a quote by Carl Sagan. He says, "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known."
Ooh, that one hits hard. I
Yeah,
like that, man.
that one hit, and I love that. And as you asked me this, it was the first time that I actually thought, I'm like, you know what? I've had this in my signature for years, right? I just love the quote, and it reminds me about the importance of trying something new and looking and searching for something new.
Love that. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it, Jonathan. And good luck with your remaining days here on Kickstarter.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. No matter where you are hailing in from, if you're in the United States and you're maybe from New York or California, or you're in the South, right now I'm in Miami, Florida, or you're outside the United States, you're in Canada, you're in Europe, you're in Asia, wherever it is, you can be successful with crowdfunding. And I hope that you take that away by listening to some of the episodes we got on this show. If you do enjoy my style, if you enjoy the way that I try to bring on interesting, different types of guests and people that are crushing it with crowdfunding, make sure to leave a positive rating and review on this episode, because it would mean a lot to me and just kind of like a nice thank you to see that people are willing to review the podcast. In addition, you can give me a thumbs up if you're on YouTube and you're listening, or leave a positive comment, a great way as well to show your support. If you're kind of been listening for maybe 1 or 2 episodes, you're like, Sal, I love this. This is great information, but I really just want to go a little bit deeper. I feel a little bit overwhelmed. And maybe you're trying to launch a new comic book, a tabletop, creative project, or it could be a physical product or invention. And you're just wondering, like, how the heck do I bring this to life? And how do I do this in a way that's simple and easy and without all the jargon? Maybe you got a big idea and you want to make that happen and have a big campaign. You definitely got to check out my individual one-on-one coaching call option, because I've literally coached thousands of creators, having worked in this space since 2012, to help people just like you get clarity and results. All you got to do is go down in the show notes and book an individual one-on-one coaching call with me, and I'll walk you through a step-by-step customized plan for your launch. If you want to learn more about that, go to the link at crowdcrux.com/coaching. That link will take you to a page. You can watch a really cool video that I have for you there on that page, and then you can book your individual one-on-one coaching call, and we can get that scheduled ASAP. Don't wait. Just go to crowdcrux.com/coaching or click the link in the show notes, and you can book your individual one-on-one coaching call with me. Would love to have you there, and we'll make sure that it's well worth your time. So make sure you come prepared and ready to take some notes with that link, crowdcrux.com/coaching. All right, man, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to sharing with you another episode next week. We got a great one in the hopper, so stay tuned. But if you do nothing else, take some action towards your goals this week. Move towards them with ferocity and excitement and confidence. And I promise you, you're going to make some great progress.